We have already agreed that we have a problem. Now, how do we get out of this conundrum? Because we have to survive. And every human being is wired to survive. That's why Safina Party, under the most reasonable political leader in this country, Jimmy Wanjigi, is proposing the most solid idea of dealing with our problems. I have told you that our problems revolve around one thing: debt. Why do we have bad schools? Because the money we should build schools are paying debt. Why are we being taxed? Because we need to pay debt. Why are we not getting social services the way we should? Because we need to pay debt. Why are we selling our national assets? Because we are paying debt. Why are we paying debt? Because we need to pay debt. So this is how you get out of this. It's a simple formula.
Okay.
The feast agenda.
Okay.
And people are wondering, how will it work? The question of how must come out very clearly. Our first agenda is that upon assumption of office, suspending of debt payment pending an audit. We will not be the first ones to think of such an agenda. It's one of the 10-point agenda that made Raila Odinga the late and William Ruto to come together. Audit of the public debt. It's a recognized problem of the country. So what do? A radical step to be taken, that we suspend debt payment. And Kenyans are asking questions. That what do we do? How is it going to be like when we stop paying debt? Ati niliona Gachagua akisema ati we have to pay because we committed ourselves to it. Seemingly, Gachagua does not understand what an odious debt is. Odious debt is an illegal debt. Our constitution stipulates how you borrow. It has to be approved by parliament. That is what makes it sovereign. If the debt wasn't approved by parliament, we don't pay. It has to come to the country through the consolidated fund. That's the only account of the people. And the money that has been borrowed in our name has to come into our account so that we can bear responsibility to pay. And then 3, it has to do a project. That's the only reason why we should borrow. That we borrowed 250 billion, hallelujah, this is what we did with it, and now we need to pay. Okay, that's what we do. If all that is not done, we will not pay. And let me tell you the benefits of not paying the illegal debt. In our estimation of the party, we are going to save close to 2 trillion shillings every financial year. What can we do with the 2 trillion shillings? We don't need any debt from anyone. Therefore, the country does not need to borrow at that time. Then how do we make sure that Kenyans now benefit from us not paying the illegal debt? By saving the 2 trillion, we shall therefore be able to provide services that have been lacking in the country. In our estimation, education from primary to secondary school costs around 200 billion. So when we make 200 billion available in education, it makes education free from primary to secondary. How is that an economically viable decision? As a parent, and you are one, and I want to pose this question to you. How much money do you pay for your kids in school per year, cumulatively?
Let's move on.
Let me assume you are taking your children to a public school.
No, they are not in a public
school. No. That's why I said let me assume.
But why assume?
Because I want
Why?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go with public school.
I want to use it because you are the one here. Okay. Let me assume that you are taking your children. You have 2 children. Let me assume that. I'm using you as an example. And you have them in high school. It's a public high school. And each student, you are paying 40,000 per year.
Okay.
So when the government says that now education in primary and high school is free, per year you will be saving 80,000 that you've been using to do what?
School fees.
School fees. That now becomes an economic stimuli to other projects. That if you had a failing business, you can now boost it.
Okay.
The money you spend on health per year will not be needed, because in our estimation, again, we can therefore fund health, which costs only 185 billion every year. We can make that money available. You will not have a situation of a sick hospital the way we have, how do we call it? Kenyatta National Hospital. Those are 2 social programs that we are going to provide as a FINA party. Then third, we have all this put in place. Now, how do we make sure that you have access to further credit, more money to develop yourself? A policy by government that there shall be no domestic borrowing. The biggest mistake President Ruto and his cohorts has done is to go for the money that does not belong to them, the money that belongs to the people. They have borrowed from our banks. We mentioned KCB.
Yep.
That is not money that should be taken by government. It should be taken by all of us here. That is why SMEs are not performing. That is why when you walk in Nairobi town, on a normal day, every building has some closed shops. That shouldn't be the case, because every shop closed is a job lost and revenue cut. Wakati biashara imekwanga mzuri Nairobi, to get a stall on ground floor, goodwill ni 1 million.
Plus.
Na unalipa rent ya 6 months before upewe. Saa hii ukipita, wameandika hapo nje, no goodwill. Vacant, no goodwill needed. Unalipa rent ya mwezi moja, unapewa. Even stalls on ground floor are being used as stores. That is an indicator that the economy is not doing well. Wachana na hizi vitu zingine tunaambiwa graph yenye bloggers wa broad based, people with affordable thinking are posting. This affordable thinking is not going to help us. I have told you how the first agenda, 1, we are not paying debt, we are providing free education, we are providing free health care. Wengine wanasema atina SHA itaenda wapi? Why do you need SHA? When we have said you just show up at the hospital with an ID and you get treated. Even the most complex of the surgeries, because money has been availed. How does that help our economy? It will put pressure, because people will be now going to hospital. We will need to employ more doctors, build more hospitals, avail more machines. Those are jobs. In education, build more schools, employ more doctors, more children in school. As we speak today, 11 million children are in primary, but only 5 million transition to secondary school. Where do the 6 million go? And out of the 5 million that go to high school, only 280,000 go to university. Where does the other ones go? How do we make sure that we make use of the human capital that we have? It's the biggest capital in the world. China are where they are because of human capital. That's where we are. Have I talked about Singapore? No. I'm just talking about our country here. That you can now, the 22 million people who wake up every day thinking about what they will eat, they can now eat. Then people will begin economic activities that will beg for industries. You know, you cannot dictate an economy how it goes. Particular industries will be demanded by the ecosystem of the economy itself. How did the sugar sector grow? We had jaggeries in the beginning. There was need for bigger factories. That is what led to bigger factories like Mumias, which are now dead, killed by the same people who were supposed to protect them. Today, as we speak here, we have 92,000 bank accounts in Kenya. Is it 92 million bank accounts? 92 million bank accounts, but only 28,000 mortgages. What does that tell you? That even the bank account owners cannot finance a mortgage. And the last agenda, in our fifth agenda, is
94. It's even 94.
94 million.
94 million bank accounts.
And take how many mortgages? The other agenda, which will be very helpful to us all here, is the agenda of reduction of VAT from 16% to 5%. Was I right?
Only 30,000 active mortgages.
Yes, yes. From 94 million. The working population in this country, let's say we have a working population of 15 million. Only 60,000 people are earning more than 100,000. These people earning more than 100,000, they have an expense called black tax. Because you are the only successful person in your family, every other person depends on you. So you cannot grow yourself because the little you get, you have to pay school fees for your brother's children, for your sister's children, and still struggle to maintain the status in society because you work in Upper Hill, you are a banker, and people in the village know that. So it puts pressure. Reduction of VAT from 16% to 5% will reduce the cost of goods because it will reduce the cost of fuel. 52% of the cost of fuel is taxes. 16% of it is VAT. So we are going to reduce 11% of it. So 11% of your petrol will be reduced. 11% of the price of petrol will come down. When you reduce the price of petrol, it has a knock-off effect on every sector. Transportation becomes cheaper. Production becomes cheaper because in production we need energy, which is electricity and fuel. VAT will also reduce the cost of electricity, which means now people engaging in business and like you, I know you pay a considerable amount of money to Kenya Power, it will reduce drastically. And the savings you make out of it, you will invest it elsewhere. By so doing, people will be having disposable income in their pockets. And when so many people have disposable income, business grows. because ukiuza jackets, people can buy because they have the money. But right now, Kenyans have a choice to choose between paying fare or drinking soda. Kulipa fare kwenda job na kukunywa soda, which one comes first? Si kulipa fare. So, we have a problem. But the fifth agenda is an antidote to all these problems. I mentioned domestic borrowing. If government comes to KCB and borrows at an interest rate of 16%, that bank will be unwilling to loan anything to you. And when they loan it to you, they will loan it to you at 18% because of risk assessment. They will give it to you at 18% or 20%, which makes it very exorbitant for you to pay. Now, people are not going for loans because of the expensiveness of the loans. When we reduce and stop domestic borrowing by government, it means that the money that has been taken yenye bank imekuwa ikiloni kwa serikali will be available to people. Utakuwa unatoka church on Sunday, unaona tent ya Equity, tent ya KCB, Diamond Trust Bank, with the beautiful looking ladies, soft spoken, coming to you and say, "Hi Obina, I come from Equity. We have facilities we are giving." Well, what are facilities? These are loans. As a business person, this is your category. You will pay with 3% and all this. Unaona hao, unalipa na 3%. Ukisonga Diamond Trust Bank, wanakuambia, "Hi Obina, you will pay with 28 point something %." Where Mama Mboga can take a loan of 1 million shillings. At the end of the year, they can only pay 30,000. Everyone will have a chance to thrive. But hii kushout kelele ya Singapore ni kama bottom up. It's another bottom up. Narratives around elections don't solve anything. Name dropping does not replace policy. You can even shout today that we want to become the next America. What do we export as a country? What services do we offer? The biggest service we are offering is house helps in Qatar, Kuwait, and all that. That's our biggest export. Kama hiyo ndio kwenda Singapore, I wish you good luck. But as for me, kabla uniambie kwenda Singapore, kwanza tu tukule tushibe. Hiyo tu. Na watoto wasome bila mahangaiko. Na watibiwe bila wasiwasi.
Okay.
So hii makelele mingi ya Kasongo with his cabal of greedy thieves, it is not going to help.
So the poll, Singapore inaweza iwezi is 25%, haiwezi is 75%.